Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nate G. It's about noontime here in the market on Tuesday, August 27th. As you can see, we are getting into a little consolidation period in the SPY and the QQQ. The SPY is flagging a little bit more than the Qs, as you can see here. And we're going to look for other setups that are in 30-minute squeezes because, as you can see here, this is the SPY on a 30-minute chart, and we are getting some consolidation in this flag, and we're getting some rounding momentum to the upside. We are sitting just under this red line, which is, we'll just label it. Let's label it in red so it doesn't look ridiculous. All-time high. So we are consolidating just under the all-time high with some rounding momentum. My theory is that we're going to come up and at the very least pierce that all-time high before we have any sort of a pullback, even a healthy pullback. I think that's going to happen unless we get caught in some news that's going to kind of mess that up. But for now, that's my plan. And I have a whole bunch of 30-minute squeezes kind of just waiting on scan to be looked at. And I thought we could do that together and create some trade plans. So let's just go through this list over here on the right-hand side. And all of these, by the way, are also on SAM. Here's that level we were talking about on Kava, the potential retest and push back up. As long as things stay bullish, it's kind of working its way into this gap and potential gap close on a larger time frame. That is not one of my trades, but that was somebody. It was a request from somebody here in the room on an idea of potentially how to get back into something like Kava after this drop. That line, that VP level and that breakout level is a good risk reward spot. You want the chart setup that I have right here, Jimmy, with the VP on the side and the TPS or the TTM squeeze on the bottom? Is that the one you want? You bet. So there you go. Okay. So I'm just going to run down this list and we're going to look for ones that we like. And then we're going to place them into a watch list here. And these are probably hard for you to read there on screen because they're smaller. So I'll just say them out loud and you'll be able to see them come up right there, right? So we have ABT, whoops. ABT is the first one. And I want to look at that on a 30-minute chart. That's interesting, but I'm looking for some consolidation. So ADSK is the next one. Same thing. AFL. AFL is kind of interesting. Where are we on the daily? Oh man, look at that. So we're going to come back to AFL. I like this chart. This thing has been really strong for quite some time. We are definitely in an uptrend. So we're going to come back to that one. Let's see here. BBY. I don't love the daily on BBY. Coming into earnings though, I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's go BLK. BlackRock. I think BlackRock is hard to get into at these high prices, so we're going to move right past that. CAT. That's interesting. Maybe needs a little bit more time to consolidate. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone. CI. I like CI. Okay, I'm going to write down CI. Let's see what else we have. COHR. Way too high and tight. Even though I like a high and tight, I want to see something with a little bit more consolidation. Dash, I don't really love. Oh no, DHR. DHR looks like, let's see, 78 minute. $130. Yeah, look at that 130. That's interesting. 195. Is it in a daily squeeze? Oh, it is. Are we under all-time highs? Not quite. 280. I might leave that one alone for now. I'm looking for something that's going to move a little faster. DIA. No, we're not going to play that one, but that's the Dow, right? That's in a nice 30-minute as well. So the Dow and the SPY are in a nice 30-minute squeeze. I mean, we could play those. EA. This is always a problem because this is the energy absolute, and then if you want electronic arts, that's all over the place. Even though, no, I don't want to play that. Okay. Let's go FL. FL is a little high and tight. FTNT. Kid just said FTNT. Wow, look at this. That's interesting. Obviously near all-time highs. Not quite, but close. Here's the problem I see with this chart. It just doesn't want to move a lot. And where's the consolidation happening? I guess right through here. I do like this, so we'll put that one on the list. FTNT, and we have GE. I know Nate's in this one, right? GE. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that one alone since he already created a trade plan on that. GLD. I don't need to place that. Let's see. Is that IoT? That's interesting. IoT, what is that? Ooh. A little too close to earnings. What do we have? IVV. Probably help if I wore my glasses. I think they're in the back room. KKR. No, I'm going to leave that one alone. And even though I'm leaving a lot of these alone, it doesn't mean that they're not good setups. They're just, there's so many right now that I feel like I'm not searching for that one, just that one setup. I just want anything. I'll try any setup. There's just so many that I'm able to kind of just say, no, I don't like that one. That one doesn't fit with my eye, right? Where was I? LNG, Meta. I can find the ones that really feel good versus trying to, not force a trade, but, find a setup that's I just have to hit, Let's see, MS. now. NTAP is kind of interesting. They're all, everything's just right under all-time highs, aren't they? I mean, that's going to be pretty typical here. Let's see. So we already know SPY, TGT. I like this TGT chart. Looks like it wants to go today. Let's write that one down. Is Nate in that one already? TGT. Let's see, what do we got? TMO. Nope. TTD. God. Just creeping higher, isn't it? TXN, we already know. We're already in. Oh no, TXN. We're not in. We're in TJX. Man, a breakout over that. Is this all-time highs? Whew. Wow. I like this one. I mean, look at that thing. Just waiting to break out. Did that go below? Let's see. No, we double topped. We double bottomed there. Did we break that inside day? Yeah, just by a little bit. That's interesting. Yeah, I like this one. TXN. Let's see, what else do we have? UNH. 30-minute. No, I don't love that one. UPro. Yeah, that's a WPM. Precious metals, huh? On ZM. Oh, man. Zoom's like Abercrombie. Remember we were playing that a couple of times a month or two ago, and it just looked like it just wanted to keep going up and up and up and up and up. Yeah, I'm gonna write down ZM, and we'll find a trade on that. And then you guys were writing some stuff in here. We did FTNT, TXN. We did that one. AEM. That was better than GLD. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like the chart setup on that. RDT, DDT. Yeah, RDDT on the 30-minute is already moving. It's already closed this gap. So I think there's not a trade there at the moment for me. Did Roku finally work from yesterday? That was a nice 30-minute chart. There it is. Pushing. I like that. What's SPHR doing? SPHR is kind of pushing. I'd like to see that continue up. I picked that up as it came back down into this POC at 49. And then TJX, I feel like if it just gets above this, 120.50 area, that thing's going to get out of here as well. All right, does anybody have any other... let's see. Let me pull up Sam, see if Sam has anything that... No, hold on. Let's see here. There we go. Get it in its own window. All right, let's pull Sam over. Let's look at the S&P 500. We looked at now. We looked at in TER. See how many nested squeezes we have here? TGT, ECL, no. Which is, oh, Google. Let's take a look at that. What else is here? All right, let's just look at the 30-minute A pluses. TXN, gold, we looked at PLD, COO. All right, let's check a couple of those out. Let's go back to this chart. What did we have? We had, TXN we know. Google. Not bad, but it's taken a bit of a beat down as of late. Let's see, what else do we have? COO. I don't know that one. No, I don't like that one. PSA and EXR. PSA. Oh, that's interesting. Public storage, huh? And then EXR. Same chart. Storage charts. That's pretty funny. And let's see. One more. UDR. Yeah, so many of these look the same, don't they? HCA. Wow, that's high and tight. Yowza. $390. Wonder what that would look like. HCA. Wonder what those options look like. Spendy. And monthly. Nope. Don't care for it. Let's see what's on the NASDAQ. 30 minutes. Yeah, TXN we have. Ooh, INTU. Oh, wow. That looks a little bit... What's the daily look like? God, that's all over the place. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that one alone. I don't like that at all. Let's see. There was Google. NVIDIA. 30-minute. Yeah, that looks pretty nice as well. What else do we have? Okay, well that gives us enough names to go through. Does anybody have anything else they really must have on the list? We got Nike. Let's see. Nike on the 130. Yeah, it's good. It was good. It's pushing now, right? So it's extended. The move has, this might not be its only move, but the move has been made. I want to get it when we're, down in the consolidation areas. And then TMUS, gone. I can tell that already. Yeah, I mean, that's extended, right? You wanted to pick that up here. Not up here. CMG daily. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, again, it's extended, right? This is not a trade to get into right now, unless you're trying to scalp something like, a couple of cents. right? You want to get it, when we're looking for charts, we're looking for, setups where it's consolidating in these areas and you capture this move or capture this move and you're taking profits into here. Yeah, TGT is on the list. Yeah, so we'll go back over TGT. And let's see what else. Let's try TMO. Let's delete this. Felix, does that make sense on my comments on CMG? We want to our goal is to get in before the move happens. Yeah. Once it's happened, that's when we want to be taking our profits and not buying. Yeah, TMO's interesting, kind of. Almost like the daily more than I like the 30-minute. Thermo Fisher, what's the... All right, options are fine. A little spendy, but fine. Okay, so let's go set up a trade plan. CENN, did we look at that one? I don't remember. Yeah, I can tell you I don't like that on the daily at all. So no there. CN, CMG, TGT. I think that was everything. Oh, MLI. Interesting. What chart did you like MLI on? The daily? It's also a little extended. I mean, it's pulling back, right? But again, we're trying to hit it like, look here. We're trying to capture, a consolidation where that's turning to yellow right there. Right? And we're in a consolidation period, which this one's a little harder because it's kind of creeping up during its consolidation period. But, you want it to be consolidating near the EMAs, and you're looking for, that's a terrible colored line, and you're looking for, that rounding momentum and consolidation. So this is a tough one because that dotted line is where you'd get all your signals for A+, but as you can see, you're already pretty extended at that point. Whereas if you're looking at something like TJX, back here on the 30-minute, or no, an even better one for those of you who are still learning, right? So if you're still learning how to spot a good setup, Netflix, okay? Netflix on the 65-minute, no, let's go back to the 30, right? We are consolidating in this area here, right? We've pulled back. We kind of even had a little bit of a dip, but we started consolidating yesterday and looked like we were going to maybe break this trend line. Where you want to get in is during this quiet period, right? This quiet sideways period near these EMAs to capture that larger move up and the shift in momentum to a move up and then a squeeze firing to the long side. So trying to, back to that other one, which I can't remember what it was, when they're not sort of consolidating sideways and that consolidation is happening as it's creeping up, it's hard to find good places to get in, right? just a minute. I use the EMAs. Excuse me for just a second. I'm trying to manage a trade here. Okay, so let's go break down some of these trades that we have pulled up, potential setups that we've pulled up here. Let's do AFL. Okay, so AFL here is in an uptrend for sure, right? We are consolidating sideways after a spike high, right? The only thing that makes me a little nervous about this is this rejected spike high this morning. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to work, right? We're down here at right here at point of control. Right? We probably even have, yep, we're at 21 and 34 EMAs here on the 15-minute. We're going to end up playing this on the 30-minute. It's actually at a nice spot to get in. So we're going to put a value area low or stop level at, let's just say 107.45. Let's move it down just a little bit so that we're kind of along those spike lows there. Okay, so we're going to make that yellow. And then we're going to come up here and put in a little value area high, which I'd like to get above. And then I'm going to come up to this spike high and put in a target number 1. And then I'm going to come here, my fib tool, and then I'm going to put in a target number 2. Okay. And then I'm going to check my risk reward on this play. Remove that. If I were to get in right now and use this bottom line as my stop, I'm roughly a 3-to-1 risk reward here. Okay, so that's good. If I'm going all the way up to my actual target level, my next target level up, it's more like a 4.5-to-1, which is great. And then if I'm making a plan here on AFL, I'm going to look at their options. Let's see here. We are in a daily. We are through the dividend, through earnings. So I think, I want this to happen pretty quickly, so I'd probably go out to next week. Let me put and I would say the 9/6, I'd be looking at the 107 calls. So, whoops, that would be the trade. I would stop on a 30-minute close below this value area low, and I'd be taking profit on a push through this target, somewhere in between these two targets. If I put on multiples of these, and these are going for about 147-ish, 150, let's just say 150, right? So if I at 150. Every time I do that, it makes it double. So that's probably what I would play if I were to take an entry on this. Any questions on that trade plan? I have a 3-to-1 risk reward, which is good as long as I honor my stops. And I've given myself about 10 days for that 30-minute squeeze to play out. Okay, so that's AFL. Let's put AFL on our list here as well. And I think AFL is in a spot where, it's in a good buy spot. So if you like that, then I think it's a good trade. What do you mean, hasn't it left the building? It's consolidating. It's in a great spot right here. We're buying this 30-minute squeeze right here. Right? We're in a squeeze. We're potentially about to get some rounding momentum. Right? Milkman, I can't make a plan for Meta because Meta's not in a setup that fits my eye or that I feel like I have a good risk reward for, right? So if you just want to trade Meta without a plan and without a risk level to plan your trade off of and make sure your risk reward is correct, and protect your capital and all that, then you just do you see what I'm trying to say? Like I need a setup and a plan, right? And Meta is not in a position. I could force a trade on Meta. Like I need a setup and a plan. Like I'm saying, I could force a trade on Meta, but I don't want to because I can't manage my risk. I could manage my risk, but there's not a clear setup that I feel like is going to give me an advantage. Right? Just because I'd like to trade Meta doesn't mean that I see a good setup. Does that make sense, Milkman? This AFL is in a consolidation period after reaching a spike high. It's in a squeeze, right? It's near its moving averages. This is a cleaner setup that fits one of my edges. So let's look at CI. Okay, CI has a very similar setup, right? We've spiked to a high, which I'm going to mark here in green. Okay, it's pulled back. It's consolidating around the moving averages. No, Fog, I don't think you have to wait for a momentum shift. Sometimes if you wait for that a momentum shift would indicate a A+ setup, right? But this is still an A setup. This is essentially the same setup as AFL. right? It hasn't given you that yellow. You can wait, sure. If you want to take only A plus setups, sure, you can wait. The only issue that sometimes will happen is, you'll get this candle when you get this yellow momentum shift. And here is not a good time to buy. Right? You're not always going to get another small candle down here and a momentum shift. Sometimes you will, and that's great. Right? But you can see that this is starting to round, and if the continuation that we're looking for happens, we're going to start to get a yellow. So you can absolutely front run it a little bit. Excuse me. So here for AFL or CI, right? We're consolidating. The nice thing about a 30-minute chart is you're going to know if it works or it doesn't work, pretty quickly. You generally don't have to sit on these things for a long time. Okay, we're going to make that yellow. That's our stop area. I'm going to put our point of control in there and make it red. I'm not even going to worry about a value area high because I'm hitting my target up here. What's my risk reward? That's so weird. My stream keeps resetting and all of a sudden I hear myself, right? So that's almost a 5-to-1 risk reward from this area here. Oh, and look what just popped up. Now this is a 30-minute candle. So this candle has to close and it still has, 14 minutes, 13 and a half minutes before it closes. So that this could change. Right? Remember, you have to wait for that candle to close to know that this is officially an A plus trade. Right? So then CI, I'll go and I'll look at their options. Again, I can give myself 10 days, and I can buy the 355s. Right? So CI, I like the 9/6s. 355 calls for, you could probably get them for 365 a piece. Yeah. So I like that trade as well on a nearly 5-to-1 risk reward. And if we come in and we do our fibs, you got your 1272 here as your secondary target, which is even more, which would be probably close to a 6-to-1, right? And it's in an area where it makes sense to pick it up. Now, I want to look on a larger time frame and see what some of these other lines up here were. We've pushed up above this recent high, consolidating. So now, we could look at, okay, well, let's test this next level potentially, like if you wanted to leave a trailer on. And then up here, we'll just leave an all-time high line. So those are some target areas if you leave a small trailer on after your initial target zone. Right? So there's a potential trade on CI. So let's make sure we put that on here. Okay, any questions on that? And in 10 minutes, you'll know if this is an A plus setup, right? As long as we don't pull back really sharply, that's going to close as a plus setup. So that's a great question, Fogg. What should be the stop on this chart to keep it a 5-1? We've put in, so what we've done is we've put in a low based on this spike and this previous high, right? So that's where we've put in our stop area. What you could, if you wanted to give yourself a little bit more room, right? So the stop here is at 352. This is a high price stock, so manage how many of these you're buying if you're taking this trade. I'm not, that's up to you. Because the movement, from 353 down to 352, that's a $10 swing, right? And so it's going to drastically affect, that's not like a $2 swing that you get in something like something smaller, right? So just recognize that that's the risk you're taking, but that also makes the profit potential even larger. So what I was going to say from an argument standpoint is you could say, okay, I'm going to use this point of control down here as my actual stop. But that increases your risk to reward to about a 3-1. And really, you're using this zone anyway, because if this turns and goes against you, right, you don't have to, but the way I do it is I need to see a close of a candle on the 30-minute chart below my stop level. Okay, and I have to wait for it to close. Because sometimes what you'll see is you'll get a morning, you'll get a candle that looks like this, right? Well, it wicked down and then got bought right back up. This is still in play. But if you're watching this and choosing your stop outs on a 1-minute chart, well, you're going to stop out and not let this 30-minute candle close. Does that make sense? So remembering what time frame you took your trade on is important to inform your stops. Does that answer your question? How do I draw it? I use this tool here. It's the horizontal line tool. Right? So you can come in here and I can put a line right down here. And then I just change the color of it. Right? But I use the key command. So if I'm coming in here and I say, okay, this is let's say I have a level. Let's put a level way down here somewhere. Okay, there's a level in here where my cursor is. And I just use a key command and it puts a line there. So you can do it either way. Now, how do I know that's a level I want? Is that the question? Okay, sorry. I see that. It's what I see on the chart. Okay, so I'm playing this consolidation area, and what I'm looking for is a level that has been used as support and resistance before, right? So generally what was resistance as you break above becomes support. And I would also, in a lot of cases, use volume profile over here, which is why I said, this is a value area high for this little node right down here. And which is why I said you could use this range down to this point of control if you wanted to give yourself a little bit more room. But I'm using chart reading techniques to define where I think the value area low is of this pattern. And you just get better at that as you go. Okay, the next one was FTNT. Any more questions on CI? We have 5 more minutes to see if before that candle closes as an A+. The key command for me is Control H. It'll say on here, right? If you have, let me go to my next one. FTNT. Did I like FTNT? I did. This one's going to be a harder one to set up a trade on. It's kind of extended. If you go here to your horizontal line, you'll see it'll tell you in a light gray what the key command is for that. In this case, it's a Control H for me. On the stop loss, I'm not setting a hard stop. I'm using a visual stop. But you can kind of, here, I'll go back to that. You can kind of figure it out, a little bit, right? So if that was, a $10 move, right? And we're buying this here, the delta, the 9-6 deltas. Oh, I don't have delta up on this chart. Can anyone tell me what the deltas are for the 355s? It's probably like 45, I'm guessing. I don't have that up on this option chain chart. So basically the way you figure that out is if the delta is around a 50, this thing's going. If you're buying a delta 50 for every dollar move, in the underlying stock, your option is going to move 50 cents. Oh, it's 48? Okay. So it's pretty close. That's why it's easy to calculate, because I can start to figure it out. You can go back and watch the recording. I mean, I can pull it up right here. AFL also going. Right? So you can see all these things on the chart, right? You can see your stop level. You can see your target. I could label them if I wanted to take more time. Okay. So next one, I'm going to skip FTNT because it's not as clean, right? And I'm trying to teach how to do this. All right, so TGT had an earnings win, pulled back, it's consolidating. It clearly has a low. You see where my cursor is here? It clearly set in a support level and a value area low. Couldn't be any clearer. This VP node just stops because of this gap, right? So that's when this breaks down to me. I'm going to look across. This is a spike high from previous. That makes sense. Previous spike high. So all that just informs the fact that this is starting to make a lot of sense. I'm going to create a trend line there that we're up against right now. So it's not exactly a spot to get in my opinion, because it might reject off of here. But we have some pretty interesting levels in here. I would love to pick it up off of 158.30 potentially on a pullback. Right, we know it's got to get up above this level there. So let me look at this on more of a 5-minute chart. Let's see. Okay. A little bit more information here. So that's kind of a key value area there. I mean, realistically, it's kind of at a key VP level right now. So if you like, so if TGT is interesting, you could try it here. However, what would your target be? Your initial target, if you're trying it here, could be a test of this high here. Right? But let's look at the risk reward. You'd have to say, okay, I personally would have to say, well, then my stop becomes a little tighter in that case. Ultimately, I think I'd like it off of 158.29 on a little bit of a dip before we go again. So I'm going to put an alert in here at like 158.50 just to let me know if it comes down into that level. Right? Because if you come in here and do your risk reward from here, you say, okay, my target's this spike high, but my stop is this value area low, that's less than a 1-to-1 risk reward. That's not okay, right? But where's another level where I could say, all right, maybe I'll risk down to this next VP level and I'll target the VP level above it. Well, that's 1.6 to 1. Okay. If you wanted to sort of day trade it, you could just keep that a lot tighter. And if you break down below that VP level, you're going to get out. Or you can keep it maybe close to a 2-to-1, right? There's options. But if I wait for it to come down to the level at 158.32, if that's where I'd like it, right? And my initial target is here, and then a trailer to its initial spike high, if it's going to go, right? Then my risk reward changes 2-to-1 on the bulk of the trade, and almost a 5-to-1 on the trailer. That's pretty good. Yeah, Fog, I have a bunch of videos on support and resistance and using VP to figure out support and resistance. D-Man posted a video in earlier this morning when he was doing one of his lessons. He's the person I learned volume profile from. And they just help inform these support and resistance zones. And so if you want, after this is done, I can post up a link to a video on volume profile. But it's just practicing these levels and figuring out where your support and resistance levels are. And the whole key to this whole game is buying at support and selling at resistance. Right? That's the game. What it's not, which we had talked about, and I'm sorry if I'm picking on somebody here. I can't remember who asked. Right? It was it CMG? Yeah. Right. So we're talking about, take a look at CMG. Is this a good buy? Right. Well, if we've got to me, as this pattern is setting up, and I'm just going to play this really loosely at the moment, right? This is resistance, right? This down here, this double area is support, right? If my goal is to buy at support and sell at resistance, is this a good place to pick up CMG? Well, statistically, no. This could push right through there and it could stay really, really strong. But I don't have an edge, right? And so what I should be thinking is, buying down here and selling into, when the stock is moving and everybody's happy and jubilant and, hoping that it goes higher and getting greedy. That's when I want to sell, right? And that's easier said than done, right? That's easier said than done. But the goal is not to try and get excited and chase these moves, but get them while they're consolidating so you can capture that move. Right? That's the whole game. And giving yourself an edge when you do buy. So you buy down here, and my stop is below that line. So I'm only risking, $1 to make 6 or whatever, versus buying up here and risking, $5 to make 1, because we don't know where that's going from there. And I'm just scribbling all over this chart. So I hope that makes some sense. Yeah, thanks for putting that in there, John. Appreciate it. Okay, so what were we on? Let's finish this up here. So we were on TGT. There's a lot of options, but me personally, I would like to get this slightly lower. I would like to get this at 158. And I would put an intermediary target, sort of up here at 161. Maybe even, yeah, I'd want to touch that spike high. But even then, it's got to get through this 160.83 level. The other one was TXN. On the 30. Is that what we're looking at? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we're in right now. No, it's not. I do like this chart though. So here we have, as you can see, here's our value area. That's this piece of consolidation right here that we're looking at, right? So then what we need to do is find a value area low that works with our chart and our setup, right? And so, there's a lot of places I could argue is a value area low. But I'm going to come in and put it about right here. Okay? Because you can see a spike low there. We have a small spike low there, a support there, a support there, a support there. Right? Yes, we broke through and ended up reclaiming, but that to me is just a nice level to potentially put a stop in. Okay, and then I'm going to mark the point of control here with red. Now the issue with this one, this is our spike high. So the issue with this one, which makes me a little nervous, is you see where we are right now. What's this look like on a 65? This one might go without me. Okay, because we're up here, right? We came back and we touched VWAP today and bounced, but right now we're coming up towards highs and up towards this spike high that we've made. To me, unless we do a breakout and retest type of trade, this is not in a spot where I want to pick it up right now. I'd like to get it down here a little lower off of, let's say, 208. But even then, our risk parameters are a little tighter, right? I mean, you could argue that the pullback, this pullback is pretty big, so our target's way up here on the 1272. Okay, I could maybe see that argument. So then, we're doing a little over 2.3 to 1 risk reward, but that's waiting for it to come back to this POC, right? So again, just above that POC, I'm going to put an alert on TXN. And it's going to let me know if it comes back into that area. And so then what I'm going to put on my chart, and I really like this break. It's going to break this all-time high. That's all-time highs, correct? I want to make sure that I'm not being stupid. Yeah, that's all-time highs. So I'd like it to come back and fill me a little lower. I could put in an order there if I wanted to. But I want to see it push up and through that level, that 210.90 level. And it might just decide to go. It might just decide to go without me. But I don't see a good risk situation buying it right here. Right, and that's the whole key, is managing risk. Now, if I wanted to try and play it off of like this 5-minute squeeze we're in, then I'm playing. You see, I'd be playing a different pattern, right? I'm playing that pattern for a move up, which would then help inform this larger 30-minute pattern. But you can see how these patterns that we play are inside of other patterns. So I'm going to wait. I'd like to see a pullback. It looks like it wants to go. But that would be my trade. And then if that's my trade, I would probably go out. I'd probably do the same thing and play the... Oh, I'm not even looking at TXN on that. I would play the 210s. I would play the 9/6s, 210 calls for basically 360. Now, what I don't recommend is, we've done three trade plans: AFL, CI, TXN. Did a little one on TGT, but clear trade plans on 3 things. I would not, because they all have a very similar setup, and we're buying options into the same weekly expiration. If the market wants to take a little bit of a turn, I wouldn't have all 3 of those on. I would have maybe 1 or 2 of them. Because if the market takes a dive, right, then they're all 3 going to be down, and then you're going to have potentially 3 losers on your hand. Now, if the market goes up, you could have 3 winners on your hand, but because they're all so similar, that would be my concern, and that's just from years of experience of you get situations where the market has a ton of names in squeeze timeframes that you like because everything is consolidating. And when they all go, it's fantastic, right? You have multiple winners and you feel euphoric. But at the same time, you want to manage that because if you've got a lot of that, you're playing a lot of longs and the market decides it wants to turn on you and all of them go down, then you're holding 3 losers. So You could hedge. You could decide not to put on a whole bunch of the same type of trades. Just learning to manage that is really important. Okay, so that's 3 trade plans: TXN, TGT, no, I'm sorry, TXN, CI, and AFL. 2 of which are or were in buy zones. TXN is not in a buy zone, so it's a trade plan we're waiting for. All right, we're waiting for that to pull back a little bit. CI was in a good spot to purchase. It's still in a decent spot, but it maybe needs to pull back just a little bit. It was when we were talking about it, and now we have our A plus setup confirmed right down here. And then AFL is also up since we were talking about it, and now we are 15 minutes away from a confirmed A plus setup here. Right? Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna cut the stream off there, and I will be in chat and whatever if anybody has any questions or anything like that. This green and red box is just a long position over here. It's the fourth one down. You just pick long position. If you're going short, you can pick short position. And then you just click the box and put it on your chart, and then you move your stop and you move your target, and it'll give you a risk reward ratio here. It'll also tell you, if it's a dollar stop loss or a 50-cent stop loss, it'll help you figure that out. And it does it based on the underlying. It doesn't do it based on an option, but it still gives you your risk reward. I like a 30-minute. It's just my favorite time frames are 30-minute and 78-minute and hourly, like that 30-minute, 1 hour, 78. I use a 65-minute, as you can see, because it's an even number of candles per day. But that range right there is my favorite, because dailies are great, but sometimes they take way too long, and my patience level doesn't. I like a shorter time frame because I like things to resolve themselves quickly if I can. That's what I prefer. My watch list is from both Sam and I have a similar scan to Sam in my Thinkorswim that I've had for years that I also use. But all of these names that are showing up in this Thinkorswim scan also show up in Sam. They scan for the same thing. This has it, just up on my screen right there. Yeah, Mary Jane, and I like. Thank you for that comment. I think it's important to. This is really the grind, right? Very rarely do we just come into the room and go, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna trade today, so I'm gonna pull up my charts. I'm gonna grab the first chart I see, and then I'm gonna trade and I'm gonna make money." You've got to go through the grind of scanning for these trades, looking at the charts, making sure they fit with your trading style, marking them up so you know what your stops are, putting alerts in for when they come into levels that you want to buy them at, and then figuring out what your option contracts you want to buy are. And then when an alert goes off, let's say I got an alert on CI, like I get a ding, I'm like, oh, there's an alert on CI. I can click over to CI and I can see, all right, there's my stop. There's my target. I see why it was alerted. I was looking at the 96355 calls. So then I just can quickly pull those up, and I don't have to sit there and go, okay, I like this one. It's a 30-minute chart, so maybe I want to go out 10 days, or maybe I should go out 17 days. And then by that time, it's moved off of your target level. You have all these things in place and ready to go. so that when you get the criteria that you want, you can just execute, right? And that's where this grind, it seems like when D-Man or Nate Bear or myself is like, oh, I'm getting into this, that we just happen to pull up the chart and, oh, great, I'm just going to buy this right now. But what you don't see as much is the amount of prep that goes into knowing where these levels are on all the charts. These levels don't just appear. We've got to go figure them out. And then making an informed trade based on that stuff. I have videos, Phil, on YouTube on how to build that scan. So if you go check that out, it'll show you how to do it. Yep, there's tons. Go into, I can't remember. I'll see if I can find the video for you once I jump off here. So, all right, I will talk to everyone later. I hope you have a great rest of the day.